Hello. Here we go. Hi guys, how are you? Hello, hello, hello. Arvin's AV86, you remind me. I want to answer your question. So, guess what? I'm live again. Hi. I just turned off my big monitor because I am like over screens right now. Oh my gosh. My eyes hurt. I've been on a lot of screens, a lot of these days. So I have my blue light blockers on, as I recommend everyone in the evening hours to do so. And lots of questions on some of the recent posts. So I want to, what is this switch? What does that mean? I want to answer some questions. For some reason, it's not giving me. Okay, here we go. I want to answer some questions on the recent post, and then I am here tonight for a live Q&A. You guys get to ask me questions. I would love if we do it in the question box down below. Do you guys see where you can post questions with the little question mark? That way I can stay on track and on top of questions. This can be general fertility questions. I am going to tell you though that it's going to tie back and relate to how the Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course can or cannot help you, and what program I think might be the best for you of the ones that I have. So I'm going to let the questions start rolling in. There's a couple questions on some of the posts that I recently posted that I wanted to get to because I like to really honor and respect everybody and answer the questions. Here comes questions. So go ahead. You guys are going to put them in the question box. If they're not in the question box, so that little circle with the question mark, that's where you're going to post your questions. If they're not in there, I'm not going to answer them. Okay? Love you, but just the way my brain is working right now, I need everything to be hyper organized. So Aravins 86, your question the other day, well, one day ago on my reel that I made, that fun one about and then I did that. By the way, that took me like 800 attempts to get the rhythm right because I am not super rhythmic. But anyway, you could have seen I was filming it and a friend was near me and we were like peeing ourselves, like how many times I redid it. Anyway, I like how it came out. But so I do have fun doing some of these things, by the way. So I said about in that post, I listed how I had girls going from POI to pregnant, FSH 80 to 10, successful IVF after six failed ones, 0.01 AMH to healthy baby, 48 in PGT normal, and Aravins 86, I know you're on right now. I'm sorry if I keep calling you out, but I just want you to know that I'm answering your question because I said in the comments that I would answer it tonight here. You said, really, I've been thinking about going donor egg after doing egg quality for a year now, seeing Dr. Murphy doing PRP twice. Maybe I'll consider this program. And I did actually make a video back to you, but then I was having this difficult time posting it. And so I thought, well, tonight I'm just going to start the Q&A with your question because I think it's a great question. Well, it's not even a question. It's kind of like a comment, but I think it's a really good lead in of like, you're doing all the things and like, why is this not working? Like, and you know, the last thing I want to do or be in your life is like to add something else to your to-do list. Like you're already doing the egg quality diet. You've done PRP. You know, I think you also mentioned in the replies that you've done ozone. It only worked once. You ovulated twice. That's it. Second time, nothing. I do everything right. And you have your hands up like that emoji. So it's like frustrating. I see the frustration. I sense the frustration. And, you know, I think where the Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course comes in to support you is on that mental emotional piece, on that frustration piece, having community, having someone that you can come to with every week and ask questions and ask for support and direction. is like really important there. And like, what are my next steps? And like, honestly too, like, and I said this in the video, even if you were to go to donor eggs, and that's for all of you guys, even if we're going to donor, you still need to prepare the palace. You still need to have a hospitable environment. Like, as you saw in 2 of the stories of hope that I've done so far the last week, donor wasn't always the clear-cut answer. Not that I don't have anything against donor, and I support every single one of my girls who decides that that's the right thing for her to do, and I 100% stand in solidarity with her in that decision. I have a handful of women that have done donor, and I think it's an awesome opportunity and avenue to explore. But if you don't work on preparing the palace, you still are not creating the healthy environment that baby needs to grow and thrive. And I still have seen women, and I don't know your case, as detailed, but that have still miscarried even using donor because we didn't fix the root of the problem. And so, but also the other thing I wanted to point out is when I see women doing all the things and not getting the results, which is really frustrating, like other things that I would be asking you, like say you were in my e-course and you came to office hours, or sorry, we used to call it office hours. You came to the weekly Q&A and you said to me, I'm frustrated. I've done 2 rounds of PRP. I'm still not getting the results. I would say to you, okay, what are the meds they're using? Have we adjusted meds? Have we gone low dose on meds? Are we doing no meds? Why don't we try a cycle where we do a retrieval with no meds whatsoever? How are you on the emotional front? Are you in the go, do mode? Are you in that chronic fight or flight? Because safety is a really big thing I teach in the e-course, and coming back to being in your body and in this space where you feel like you're supporting yourself, you feel like you are enough, you are doing enough. And not all the time. It's not a perfection thing, but understanding that piece too. Like that's the stuff I would teach you and unpack. And then of course you have the e-course modules, like the 15 hours of the content that can really support you. And perhaps you are doing all the things, but maybe there's a few things that you're not doing or you overlooked. And I really stress the importance there, right? So it's about like reframing and regrouping and also having another set of eyes on the case, and also a community of women on the case, like where you could just be like, I feel so frustrated. These are all the things I'm doing. Nothing's working. People would come in and be like, oh, did you try this? Or Aimee recommended this to me, or I saw that this worked for somebody, right? So that's where, the opportunity lies for you in being a part of my private community and a part of the e-course. So yeah, it's like, I hear the frustration and I see it a lot. And I think too, the other thing is like the emotional work. Like one of my girls said, doing, and it's on the aimeeraupp.com/yes, the e-course page where we describe every single thing you get with the e-course, which it's a very long page and it's kind of annoying. I'm always like scrolling to the bottom of it, but it's that length for a reason because you get so freaking much with the course. But if you go to the section where it says what previous students have said, one of the girls says, like, doing Aimee's course helped me really step into my power and decide to do donor, right? And so perhaps that is your path, and there's nothing wrong with that being your path, right? So I wanted to also address, like I said, I'm not gonna answer questions here in the box. And I know my team is chiming in as well. Exactly. So like the what we do in the Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course, how weekly Q&As go are like this. Like, hey, I just did a round of IVF and I got X, Y, and Z. And the doctor wants to do another round. These are the meds I was on last time. What do you think I should do for the next round? That kind of stuff. If it's like, you want me to look at deep dive, like you're going to post your lab work, I'm not going to, like it's kind of not what I'm going to do because I don't have enough time in that hour to do that. What I want from my students who are not individually coaching with me or doing coaching with one of my coaches where I know their case, because I can't give advice on a case I don't know the ins and outs of. What I ask of my students, and it works great, and they get great advice and great guidance from me, is high level. my iron has been low for 3 months and I can't quite figure it out because I'm taking an iron supplement. What do you think, Aimee? That question I will answer any day of the week, right? Or I'm using the Mira and my progesterone drops cycle day 8. What do you think, Aimee? Or I mean, 8 days post ovulation. What do you think? Versus posting your whole Mira chart, right? So it's like, but I guide you and support you. My team guides you and supports you on like how to best ask the question so you can get the right answers from me. So I just want to address that too, because I see, but now I'm going to go into the question box. Okay, so my husband has tried supplements, Mediterranean diet, but everyone watching will see it on their screen. Tap to answer the question. Okay, so my husband has tried supplements, Mediterranean diet, but still low sperm, progressive motility, high DNA fragmentation. Is there anything else that can be done? So in the e-course, we do go over a lot of, there is a whole section on the healthy daddy diet. And a deeper dive into the male supplements and the male factor. And I also always recommend that the partners do the e-course with, each other. And then you guys also, when you join the e-course, you get access for free to my Fertility Reboot, which will kick off in mid-October or early October, at some point in October. And that's my 30-day fertility reset program where I literally, so in addition to the weekly Q&As, when you join the Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course, you're also going to get access to the Fertility Reboot where you're going to get me once a week there too, doing group coaching for the entire group who does the reboot. And I always encourage that the partners do that too. So he might not be doing... he might need a more aggressive diet than that is what I would say. He might also be exposed to chemicals. That's the stuff. There's a whole lifestyle module in the e-course that breaks down how to detoxify your home. We give you PDFs of the best products and how to switch things over. And I go over all of that with you. And there's a lot of other little tweaks that we can make. So, that's the stuff that I would really look into of what additional things, and also looking, maybe he's eating something that's causing a lot of inflammation in his body. So I would think about doing the Fertility Reboot together. I'm 40 and I have fluid in my tubes. Are you able to help me? So that is something called the hydrosalpinx, and the fluid in the tubes typically causes a sepsis or a toxic environment in the uterine cavity. And therefore, even if you were to get pregnant, the pregnancy will not survive because there's fluid leaking into the uterine cavity. And so what I focus on there is again, the same approach, the anti-inflammatory, a lot about improving uterine blood flow and circulation. So that would be a great question. That's a perfect example of a question for the weekly Q&A where you would say, hey, Aimee, I just found out I have fluid in my tubes. What do I do? How can I do this? And so that was my approach to tonight is I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what the weekly Q&A looks like. Because these are all pretty regular questions that I would get in the weekly Q&A. And I would direct you you know what? I really want you to focus on module 3, the eating for egg quality diet. And the diet and the supplements, and then look at module 4 from the lifestyle perspective. I really want you to focus on the castor oil packs, the abdominal gua sha. Think about doing, a session where we could get you on some Chinese herbs because that could really be helpful. Or I would even say, are you working with an acupuncturist, and are they an herbalist? Can you talk to them, or find an acupuncturist in your area and work with someone that is an herbalist. That's another great way that can help you. You can also talk about with your doctor, they can drain the fluid. Sometimes there's, a microbiome issue that's going on. So that's kind of how I would approach that. But is this helpable? Have I seen hydrosalpinxis before? Have things worked out? Yes. Here's another great question that I would see in the weekly Q&A. I've done 3 egg retrievals. All embryos are abnormal. I'm 42, working to improve my egg quality. What should be my next steps? Again, I would be okay, I want you to focus on module 3 and module 4. And then I also, module 2 is really helpful in you identifying the kinks in your system and what your body is telling you, right? And so I would direct you and give you kind of like a homework assignment. And so in this case, it would be like, you got to follow the egg quality diet. You really got to focus on uterine and ovarian blood flow. And also, are we looking at sperm health? What is the sperm health? Even if it comes back normal, is he, if you're in a partnership, is he doing this with you? That would be another thing. I would also ask you, what kind of meds have you been using for the retrievals? Maybe we should think about going lower dose. I see women over 40 doing better with lower dose meds, right? So again, it would be such a nice place for you to say, I have this resource. I have Aimee. She goes live on Thursdays in our secret community, and I can ask her these questions. And then I would direct you, I would guide you, I would support you. Can the diet help endometriosis, or does surgery need to be explored as well? Really depends on the case. So this is another question that like is very common in the weekly Q&As. And what I always see clinically is that diet can definitely help manage the endometriosis. When it comes to surgery, it's either a hell yes or a hell no. So I would encourage you, like, I want you to look at module 1 and module 5. I want you to kind of take a deep dive into that emotional space and check in with yourself. What does it feel like? Does surgery feel good to you? Does surgery feel bad to you? Some girls, and you'd be surprised if surgery, you're like, oh my God, why would I ever want surgery? You'd be surprised. I have some girls that are like, I want surgery and I want it tomorrow. And they sign up for it and they're like in on it. So it's checking in with yourself. But have I had endometriosis cases that never got surgery and still went on to have healthy children? Yes, I have. Have I had endometriosis cases that have done surgery and gone on to have healthy children? Yes, I have. So I'm not convinced that surgery is necessary, but I, again, stand in solidarity with my girls on the decision that they make. But diet for certain can help endometriosis. Can women really reverse or slow down early menopause by diet alone, or do we always need HRT too? Hi, Claire. I think that's a great question. I definitely see that aging can be slowed down or reversed with, it's not just diet, with lifestyle, and you cannot underestimate the mental, emotional piece, right? I have a woman right now that one of my coaches is seeing, and you know, she's early 40s, showing signs like her FSH is high, her periods are acting wonky, she's having some hot flashes, some vaginal dryness, and she like nails the diet. Her lifestyle isn't great though. She's not sleeping well. She doesn't go to bed till midnight or later. She eats really well, but she doesn't start eating until noon. She decides she's not trying to intermittent fast, just doesn't work for her body. She has a go job. She's like really intense, constantly on all the time. And I was like, and she's like, but I'm doing all the supplements, I'm doing the diet. Why is my cycle not regulating? And I was like, it's so much more than your diet. It's your lifestyle. It's your, like, are you in that chronic fight or flight, right? And I talk about that a lot in the e-course. I go into the whole fertility equals safety conversation deep into the e-course, and I give you tools on creating that safe environment and what you need to do, that like it's so much more. And sure, HRT can be helpful. And I also have girls that are younger and they're not cycling and they're anxious to cycle and they want to get into an IVF cycle or something like that. I'll be the first to say, sure, if that's what you want, I want you to go see this doctor and I want you to talk to them about estrogen to start to bring on a cycle. Let's regulate the cycle. So, but it's not a Band-Aid approach. It's a multifaceted approach. And just if one prong is like you're nailing it on one prong, there's all these other avenues that are not being looked at. I had another girl in the course that she's like rocking the diet. Her cycles have been super irregular. She just did a round of the group coaching. So that's how I got to really know her case, as I do with all the group coaching students. And turns out she doesn't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock. I was like, that's why your cycles are not regular. You're nailing the diet. You're taking all the supplements. You're doing your castor oil packs. Like, you're doing your acupuncture. You're on your device till 1 o'clock in the morning. That it is not going to lend itself to regular cycle. Why do you think I have these on, guys? It's like, because it's nighttime here and I don't like the blue light this late at night. It impacts my cycle. It does. I don't sleep in complete darkness. It impacts my cycle, right? And so I'm just a sensitive Sally. So there's so many things, but you do see it, and there's a lot of clinical research out there. We can reverse and slow down the aging process. We absolutely can. And women can regularly menstruate into their 50s and still be ovulating. Like, so it's possible, but as we get older, it does require more attention to detail, which is not always feasible and not always easy. I'm 32. I have high FSH, premature ovarian failure. Lost period since April. How can I induce a period? Provera didn't work. I've been doing acupuncture since June and nothing. So again, here, like, I'm going to, again, treat this like it's part of my weekly Q&A, and as if you're in the e-course with me, and I would say, okay, are you hitting your macronutrients? Are you really following the dietary stuff that's laid out in Module 3? Are you following Module 4? Did you dive into all of that? How are we doing on the safety, conversation? Are you feeling more in the rest, relax, reproduce mode, or are you feeling more in the fight or flight mode? Are you sleeping? Are you getting to bed by 10 or 11 p.m.? Are you taking your supplements? Are you over-exercising? Are you under-exercising? Has your thyroid been checked? Has your vitamin D levels been checked? Right? Because this is an TTC with POI. I love you. This is treatable. This is doable. This is fixable. I have a story of hope. I was going to actually do it this last week, and I didn't do it, but 32, she's a physician coming to me. I actually have her notes here because she's now coming back to me for baby number 2. She came to me at the age of 32. Her FSH was like legit in the 80s. POI, POF. And a lot of mindset work, and believe it or not, because the FSH comes from the brain. And so if you want to regulate FSH, you got to work on the mindset. You got to work on that safety piece, which I really go into in the e-course. And I save that for my clients. That like deep dive is for my posse who, and of course you guys can go through all my YouTube videos and like, I'm sure gather all the information if you want, but if you want it all one-stop shopping, right there, that's where it is. But we did all that. Of course we did the diet. Of course we did the lifestyle. She had a really intense lifestyle. She's a physician, emergency room physician. She works crazy hours. We figured it out, and she came to me, what date was this? 10/17/2018. Yeah, I think within a year of working with me, she was 6 months pregnant. Naturally. So 100%. And it's all the things though. Okay, so I'm 40, I fluid in my tubes. What order do you suggest we read your books? I do have that as a blog post. It really depends on your goals. I think if you're trying to conceive, it's yes, you can get pregnant, and then the egg quality diet. Response couldn't be shared. I don't know what's going on. How much expertise would be considered too much? This worries me after 3 failures. 2 didn't make blasts. And the 3rd, I got a blast, but it didn't stick. 2 at 39 and 1 at 40. I don't know what you mean by expertise. How much expertise would be considered too much? Do you mean how much medication to be? I think it really depends on your body and what you responded to. So again, this is a typical question in the weekly Q&A, and it would be like, especially if you never coached with anybody, and you guys don't have to, you'll get a ton out of the e-course, even if you don't do one-on-one coaching. As long as you position your questions properly and you're really utilizing the resources, you do not need additional work. I've had many women do the e-course and have success and never need additional coaching or additional spends. So it's really up to you. But so a question like this, so I think you mean how much medication. So I would then say to you, if you were on live, I would say to you, can you clarify your question? Do you mean how much medication? And then I would say, okay, so break down for me. What were you doing? Were you doing 350? Were you doing 200, 150 gonal? How much Menopure? And then I would help you figure that out, okay? Okay, 42, never pregnant or miscarried, 8 IVFs in the past 4 years, got 2 blasts every time. Unfortunately, none of them were normal. Any thought on what could cause it? Healthy overall. Again, if you were in my weekly Q&A, the first things I would say is medication. I would try a much lower dose from what you did previously. I would deep dive into module 3 and module 4. I would make sure your partner is on board with module 3 and module 4. I would make sure the diet and the lifestyle is revamped, and think of it from that perspective. And then I would also challenge of are you willing to try naturally? Would you be willing to try naturally? And if you are, why do we need to grow them out to day 5s? Why don't we just transfer at day 3s and freeze them at day 3s? What do you recommend for low minerals, iron, copper, and calcium? I'm a big fan of spirulina. And again, I would direct you to module 2. That's where I cover, is it module 2? Might be module 3, where I cover all the supplements and we talk about, but minerals, typically spirulina or algae is one of my favorite ways to get natural minerals in. I'm also a huge fan of magnesium. I don't know what's going on here. Would you recommend taking supplements, herbs for stress or anxiety while trying to conceive, or other methods? 100%. I'm an herbalist and I like supplements, so 100%. And then again, to get clear on the plan for you is following what I break down in module 2, so you can see the kinks in your system, and then you would work into module 3 and come up with a plan of what would be the best approach for you. And then you would come to the weekly Q&A and be like, here are the highlights of my case. I'm 42. I've been trying to conceive. What high level supplements do you think I need, Aimee? What do you think about supplementing with NAD for egg quality? So guys, if you are, thank you. My team's already on it. Never mind. What do you think about supplementing NAD for egg quality? Yes, I'm a big fan of it. And I talk about it a lot in the e-course. And I also point you to my most favorite supplements. Would you recommend taking supplements, herbs for stress, anxiety? I already answered that one. Okay. What can I do for blocked tubes? One is blocked, the other appears blocked at one end. Again, if you were in the e-course, we're going to treat this like it's the weekly Q&A in the e-course. I would say castor oil packs, mind abdominal massage, acupuncture, Chinese herbs, abdominal gua sha. Make sure you're on the anti-inflammatory diet, and that's what I would recommend. I've also seen success with Mercier therapy. So you guys are getting a real taste of what it looks like to be in the weekly Q&A. Any tips for poor responder to meds, 2 failed IVFs, diagnosed with low AMH? So again, this is where I would talk about the meds. I would also consider ovarian PRP. I would connect you with certain doctors. I would give you my recommended doctors list, which is completely private and only for my community. I would talk to you about less is more. Let's focus on quality, not quantity. Again, going back to module 3, really also focusing on that safety equals fertility perspective, reminding you that AMH is not an indicator of pregnancy. There's women with dramatically different AMH, but the same exact age, have the same exact fertility outcomes in 1 year of trying to conceive. How work with trauma, panic, post losses? I know. 8 years IVF. I know. EMDR. We have a fertility trauma coach on our team. If you joined and did the group coaching program, which I don't think there's a lot of spots left in that, you get 1 session with our fertility trauma coach, and then you also one individual session, which is a great deep dive, and she's an amazing woman who helps with trauma. I took her on because some of the trauma is beyond my skill set as a clinician and acupuncturist and herbalist. And then she also leads a group with the other students in the group, and it's powerful. It's amazingly healing. But that's where I would go. I mean, I literally took her onto my team because of what I'm seeing, Jamie, with so many of my clients. The trauma is real. And so I would work with a fertility trauma coach. Ours is just about to be a PhD. She's got almost a decade of experience working with trauma specific to fertility and motherhood. What's going on? I have PCOS with regular cycles, but high androgens. My RE recommended IVF, but I want to try natural ways to do this. I'm super scared of IVF meds. Right. And so again, I would just be like, okay, I want you to dive into the e-course. I want you to go through all the modules. I want you to follow it step by step. You're going to do the reboot with us, and we're going to see shifts. You're going to see changes. What you're going to do in the process is support your body in detoxing the hormones. Let your body start to, it's about sulfation. It's about methylation. It's about and if you worked even deeper with myself or one of my coaches, we could do the Dutch test on you. We could come up with an even clearer plan. So there are ways to do it. I've worked a lot with PCOS, and we can get those androgen levels down. Should you continue Wobenzyme after a positive beta and through pregnancy? So again, this would be a great question in the weekly Q&A. Hey, Amy, I got a positive. I'd also be moving you to the new mama group, which comes as part of the e-course. Once you get pregnant, we move you to the new mama group, and you still get Q&As with me. They're monthly instead of weekly. You get access to my new mama guide. You get all the mamas in that group, and they guide you through. And I would say if you've had recurrent pregnancy loss, I'm going to have you stay on the Wobenzyme through the first trimester. Can you do all these tests when we are based in Australia? Yes. I mean, you can do the Dutch test for certain. I have my international clients order it themselves and it ships to them, but then they still put me down. If you're working with me individually, you put me down as your practitioner, and then I get to review that Dutch. I also do once you're in the e-course, you could actually do a Dutch review with me. That is kind of like a perk. It's for an additional cost, but that is a perk where you get to do a 30-minute Dutch review with me. If you coach one-on-one with me, I do Dutch. I could do genetics. I do a deep dive on all of it.
Mom,
yeah, my love.
you said you would be done for bedtime.
I'll be out in about 5 minutes, and I'll be right there, okay? You start reading, and I'll be there, I promise.
Will you read, Mom?
It's Daddy's time to read, okay? And Mommy's going to read tomorrow, I promise. I love you. I keep seeing baby aspirin. When do you take it and why? Again, this would be a great question for the weekly Q&A, and the answer would be we recommend baby aspirin in the luteal phase. I typically recommend it in 2 cases: over the age of 40 or history of a previous loss. And it helps thin the blood, it helps support implantation, and it can help carry your pregnancy. Of course, you should consult with your physician about that, but that's usually when we recommend it. And baby aspirin is 81 milligrams. Low dose naltrexone for endometriosis. Any experience with this? Yes, I do, and I see it a lot. I'd say half the girls in my course are on it at this point in time because I've been privy to the information for quite some time. And it's the second I'm privy to something, my girls in my e-course know about it. So I'm always reading the latest research and bringing that to them. I'm always talking to the fertility doctors in my squad. I have a lot of close relationships with REs and reproductive immunologists, and I work with women all over the world. I see cases across the board. I hear and see, I think, the latest and greatest information, and the second I learn about it, I bring it to my e-course students. So absolutely, it's a great anti-inflammatory that definitely helps support autoimmune conditions, but also inflammatory conditions. Okay. I've been following your protocol. I'm 38, have high AMH. Everything else seems normal, but wondering if I should ask for follow-up tests. My OBGYN did not think I had PCOS. I'm still concerned. So again, if you were in the weekly Q&A, I would say, well, you need to get free testosterone checked. You need to get SHBG checked. What is your DHEAS? I want all those checked. I also want your vitamin D levels checked, a complete thyroid panel. And yeah, that's where I would start. And then we would be able to do a deeper dive. Can gonal and Manipure, if dosage too high, contribute to poor egg quality and poor quality embryos? 100% they can. Okay. I have PCOS with regular cycles but high androgens. Oh, we already went over that one. Okay. What is the ideal TSH level for transfer between a 1 and a 2.5? Okay. Okay, I got that. Oh, exercise expertise. How much exercise would be considered too much? Okay, so I do have an entire video on this, so I would just recommend Googling Aimee Raupp and exercise, and you will see the YouTube video. But if you're underweight, then I would slow down on the exercise. I do look at BMI, and I honestly, lower BMIs are more concerning to me than higher BMIs. Okay, 44, apparently my tubes are blocked. Should I redo the HSG? There's male factor, so donor sperm. Then fertility, a doc said donor egg. Confused, is it worth retesting for HSG? Sure, I would also look into, so again, you're in the weekly Q&A, you're doing my e-course. I would be like, are you guys really following everything in module 3 and module 4? Have you committed to that? Did you go through that? I would then consider acupuncture, Chinese herbs, Mayan abdominal massage, castor oil packs, abdominal gua sha, Mercier therapy. And of course, if you have the inkling to retest on the HSG, then I support that inkling. Now, a big part of what I do with my students is teaching them to trust this and not this so much. So hi, this is a good question. Sorry. Oh my God, what am I doing? What would you recommend if cholesterol is high while trying to conceive? Wob enzyme and, still following good quality fats and following the diet as laid out. Cholesterol, again, so say it's a weekly Q&A, you come in and you're like, I just got my labs done, Aimee, and my cholesterol is high. And I would say, the first thing I would ask is, were you fasting for that test? And then I would say, okay, high cholesterol is a sign of inflammation. Your body holds on to cholesterol, builds up plaque, as a sign of trying to protect itself. So it's not feeling safe. It's not feeling nourished. It's not getting everything it needs. And so then I would walk you through. Are you following the diet? I would add in the Wob enzyme. I would make sure you're on the 3 grams of fish oil, right? So I would just kind of reiterate all the things that I've already laid out for you in the course that I want you to be doing. What can I do for egg quality while breastfeeding? I had 3 miscarriages before having my rainbow in February. Congratulations. And we're already trying to plan for baby number 2. First miscarriage was conjoined twins. I'm sorry. All normal RPL workup. So again, this is you're in the course. I'm going to talk to you about module 2 and really focusing on you being at your fullest capacity, your most vibrant, healthy self. When we're breastfeeding, we are giving a lot of energy away. And so we want to think about what can I do to conserve? What am I doing to build? Are you on the supplements? Are you nourishing yourself? Are you eating a nutrient-dense diet? And also in Chinese medicine, we strongly urge pregnancies should be ideally 18 months apart. So birth to the next pregnancy should be 18 months. So you shouldn't start trying until at least 12 months, maybe 14 months. And so all the things I recommend to get pregnant, I recommend in pregnancy, and I recommend postpartum. So it would be the same thing if you were working with me and you got pregnant, you'd have my new mama guide, you'd have access to all that, and we'd be talking through that kind of stuff. So how many calories do you have a day while trying to conceive? I mean, it kind of depends, but at the minimum, 1,400, I'd say 12 to 14. But it can be upwards. It kind of depends on the person, because the goal is with the fertility reboot that we will all do together if you join the course. And we also did introduce a payment plan, just so you guys know. So you can also join the course. It's $257 for 7 months. So that seems very feasible for a lot of people. A lot of people are jumping on that opportunity. So if that is of interest to you, we can post the link here. But that's for a lot of people who are interested in the course, and that $1,400 is just too much to spend right now. We have a 4 payment plan. We have a 7 payment plan. And so we're trying to make it as feasible for people as possible, because I really want to support you and serve you. But when we do the reboot, what you discover is the fertility diet that works for you. And so what I have laid out in the reboot is probably about 1,400 to 1,600 calories a day. Some people need a little bit less. Some people need a little bit more. Oh yeah, the link is aimeeraupp.com/7pay. And the days of the Q&A, they're always Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time. But here's how it works. About 2 days before, we make a post in our private community that says, weekly Q&A, post your questions here. And so everybody just goes in and they list their questions. You can list multiple questions. We ask that you separate the questions out. We ask if you're asking about a product or something specific, that you include the ingredients. We have a whole, we have a rules section, and following the rules really makes it most efficient for me, so I can best serve you. Because, some days I have 70 questions. And so I got to spend the time to go through, and everybody gets their question answered. Everybody gets my attention. What we do, so your questions are submitted beforehand. So even if you're in a different time zone or you are working, you can't be on live, you don't have to be. Because I go through, I answer all the questions. Everything is recorded. You have the recording there in our private community. It's also uploaded to a YouTube playlist that you have access to. And that YouTube playlist also has the volumes of the history of all the Q&As for the last 4.5 years that I've run this course. That is by far the most valuable part of the e-course, because you literally get, and you can also search the group. You can search FSH, lowering AMH, block tubes, egg quality, whatever it is, and you will get just volumes of answers. So it's literally like the encyclopedia of Aimee Raupp and Aimee Raupp's brain. So that's how the Q&As work. Okay, so people keep asking questions. You cannot ask questions here. I'm not going to answer them. You got to ask questions in the question box. Okay, love you. Anything else to try to control anxiety and stress if currently on benzos? Okay, you got to get off benzos immediately. I love you. I see a place for them, kind of not in society. Taking Chinese herbs, I would strongly recommend, if you're considering joining the e-course, do the group coaching. There are still some spots left, but you get a really big emotional deep dive with our fertility trauma coach. She does EMDR, she does a group coaching session, or even join the e-course and do one or a couple sessions with her, because she's powerful as fuck, and the EMDR will really help with the stress and anxiety. Obviously, the e-course comes with 2 modules that are all about anxiety and stress management and mindset, and a ton of freaking tools. And half of the weekly Q&As, by the way, half of the weekly Q&As are these very logical questions, like, my tubes are blocked, I had a bad IVF, but then some of them are like, how do I keep going on? How do I keep hope alive? And what you guys all love about me is when I get into that spin and I just talk and I cry with you and I share thoughtful insight and we do a meditation together. And that's the other part of the office hours, or sorry, I keep doing that, the weekly Q&As that happen. And so, you could say to me, your question in the weekly Q&A could be like, I've had a really shitty week and I'm having such bad anxiety. I can't even sit still. any words of wisdom. This is just becoming too much for me. And I would spend, probably 10 minutes on that conversation. And every single woman that watches that video or that is there live benefits from that. And I walk you through it and I talk you through it. And I would ask you, can you elaborate on how you're feeling, what you're feeling? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, some of you, if you have the older Instagram, maybe you can't ask the questions. I'm sorry. But you can just sign off and come back. Have had 4 losses and tested. Okay, guys, I'm giving you 5 more minutes and then I'm hanging up. Because I love you, but it's also almost 9 o'clock here. And I've been in front of a screen for a long time today. 4 losses, tested positive for ANA, but here is not a doctor that can tell me what that means or what I should do. You got to follow the egg quality diet. You got to do the fertility reboot. You need the e-course because it's all about reducing inflammation on the emotional and the physical level, which is all about helping you get pregnant and stay pregnant. And I would get you the right resources. You need the right resources. You need someone to refer you to a hematologist. Did you mention the course of the program? So the basic level of the course is, I believe, $1,472. And here's what you get with that. So thank you for asking. You will learn you get 15 hours of content all about optimizing and enhancing fertility, improving egg and sperm health. Take an average of 5 to 7 years off of your genetic age. I've actually been testing my students and that's what's happening. So 2 things. They're taking an average of 5 to 7 years off their genetic age. 65% of them have their healthy babies in 18 months. That's either they're 20 weeks or more pregnant or they literally have the baby in their arms in 18 months. 18 fucking months. There's also another statistic that shows women in support groups get pregnant twice as fast as women who are not. And those support groups, when they're led by a clinician like me, like where you have a trusted resource, you can remove Googling from your life. You never have to go into one of those forums again. You just come to our group and you ask me the question. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know the answer and I have your back. Like I do this, sure, running a business and serving people and writing books and stuff like that. Like that's fun, of course. And of course I need to support my family and that part is fun. And I love my work. But I do this because there's the system as it's set up is failing you guys. It fucking sucks and it's failing you and it's blaming you. You're the victim. You're the one that is something's wrong with you. You join my community, the number one thing you will learn is how to advocate for yourself and to realize that the system is failing you. And I will teach you how to navigate that system. That is like my biggest passion in life, that you get to take back the power over your health and your fertility because you are not broken. You are very, very fertile and you can do this. So the cost of the program, not only does it teach you to advocate for yourself and give you the best resources to do so, even like I literally have a PDF that you just print out and take to your doctor. Here's the lab tests I need. And if your doctor says no, I also coach you on what to say to your doctor next. Okay, well then I'm just going to get another doctor. Thank you very much. But on average, women take 5 to 7 years off of their genetic age. 65% of them are pregnant with their healthy children, or they have them in their arms by 18 months after joining this course. You balance your hormones, AMH improves. I had one girl last year, 45, her AMH doubled, and her AMH is higher at 45 than it was 4 years prior. You're going to reset your fertility with the egg quality diet. You're going to get free access to my fertility reboot, manage PCOS, endo, fibroid, cysts, premature ovarian aging, insufficiency, heal autoimmune conditions, reduce inflammation, shift your mindset, release fear and shame, feel more supported, and get eagerly asked questions of Aimee every single week, and I'm there to support you. So the cost for the basic is $1,472, or you can do 4 payments of $405, or you can do 7 payments if you go to aimeeraupp.com/7pay of $257. Then there's the group, which there's only a few sessions left. That is, so with the group, you get a lot. You get the e-course, of course. You get 2 individual coaching sessions with one of my fertility coaches, 1 individual coaching sessions with our fertility trauma coach, who is also a certified psychotherapist, trauma therapist. You get groups, 2 groups run by me, very intimate, only 8 people in the group. So very intimate. I get to know your case really well. You get to have like face-to-face time with me. You get 10 minutes solid with me where you get to ask questions in the group setting. Then you get 1 group led by our fertility trauma coach. And then I think there are like 1 or 2 master levels left, which is $39.72. It's not inexpensive, but that's where you get a 6-month deep dive with me. So you're getting 5 hours with me and additional testing and things of that nature. And so there you have it. So, but here's the thing too, even if you just join the basic, because you're like, I'm not sure I want to go and drop $4,000, and I get that. Join the basic. You can always upgrade. You can always add coaching with me. You could always add coaching with a coach. You could always add trauma coaching. You could always upgrade to the group, right? So there's a lot of ways to do it. Once you're in my pack, you're in, and you always are privy and to all the latest that I learn and access to me and to my team. Okay. Recommendation to lower estrogen. Sorry, I don't know why this keeps doing this. Recommendation to lower estrogen. I have endo, and I've been following all your recommendations. You have to think about methylation. So again, weekly Q&A, you said to me, Aimee, I'm following everything. I'm doing the diet. I've dug deep into module 3, module 4. I'm doing all the supplements. The kinks in my system are all better, but my estrogen is still high, which I would find surprising. I would then say, okay, have you incorporated broccoli sprouts? Are you doing your broccoli sprouts? I would do that. I would think about maybe calcium deglucarate if you need that. Making sure you're properly methylating. Are you supporting your MTHFR mutation? Because likely you have that. Are you supporting your COMT mutation? And I would give you advice based on that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to answer like 3 more questions. My TSH is usually between 2.6 and 3.2 and recently jumped to a 7. Fertility specialist, right? We like it below a 2.5, ideally between a 1 and a 2. No, I would, if you're trying to conceive, and this is like, again, straight shooter, you're in my Q&A and you said to me, I'm hesitant about taking the thyroid meds, but you're in my course and you're trying to get pregnant. I would be like, girl, you're going to take the thyroid meds and you're going to love and accept the thyroid meds because they're going to help you get to your goal. When you're done having your children, we will go back, but your thyroid's jumping around, which tells me that it's going to do the same thing once you're pregnant. And that tells me you're not set up for success and you're probably going to miscarry. There are a lot of things we can do. Healing the gut is one of the most important things to help heal the thyroid. You probably may also have, maybe you have or have not been checked. This is another thing I would say. Make sure your doctor checks for thyroid antibodies. Do you have Hashimoto's? Because a TSH that jumps around like that most likely is Hashimoto's. And then you really have to dive into the egg quality diet as laid out. Okay, people keep asking questions on the main thing. You got to ask questions in the box, but I'm also going to wrap up the questions. You guys are amazing. Do you ever work with custom IV drips? I don't do them personally, but sure, I recommend them. Not NAD drips, but other ones. Okay. Do you think, sorry, I don't know why it's freezing on me. Okay. Do you think AMH is a strong indicator of low egg count quality? Results are within normal range for the age group or closer to the low end. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't really pay attention to AMH or FSH. Okay. Can you explain the different levels of the e-course? So I think I just did that already. There's the basic, then there's the group, and then there's the master where you get solo time with Aimee. 5 hours of solo time with Aimee, plus access to the e-course for as long as... That's the other thing too, guys, is like most of the fertility programs out there end, and the group ends, and it goes away. They're 6-month programs. My program never goes away. And anytime I update my program, you guys get the new information. I never kick you out. You can use it for baby number 1 and then go away and then come back for baby number 2 You're always going to have access. And every time I update it, you're going to have access. That alone, and then the weekly Q&As are beyond worth the $1,400. Like if you do the math of what I charge hourly when I do coaching one-on-one with people, which I think is close to $550, $600 an hour, that you get an hour a week with me. I mean, it's not just me and you, but I'm answering your questions every single week. Like if you do the math, and also like, you know, you follow me for a reason. You trust me. You read my books for a reason. Like I do my homework. I know my shit. Like to be able to just come in and ask me questions on a weekly basis. For most girls, they'll say once they join, they're like, it's the most invaluable part of the course. And then of course that I just revamped the entire course. So everything you're going to watch and learn in those 15 hours is brand new information. All the latest supplements, all the latest tests, all the latest research. I go into the research behind biological aging. I go into the research behind safety and fertility, and really give you like a foundation to feel certain that you can actually improve your fertility, that you can do this. And as my team just wrote, the best time to join is always now because we can't guarantee this price again. Well, that's it. The prices do go up every year. I mean, that's just how it has to work. But yeah, and the group's going to run out and mine's going to run out probably by the end of tonight. So and also if money is tight, which I respect and I get, you know, you want to think about the 7 payment plan, $257 a month for 7 months. Not so bad. That's what, $55 a week. You're worth that investment. And I promise you, like just the way you guys follow me, you follow me because you love me and because I give a shit ton of information for free. Like if this is my free stuff, do you have any idea what the private stuff is like, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not into pitching myself or selling myself. It's up to you. If it's a hell yes, and then, or if you're thinking, oh, I could really use the extra support, just join. You're not going to regret it. You're never going to regret it. I never had a single girl regret it. But yeah, and there's going to be more stories of hope tomorrow and on Thursday. The cart is going to close on Thursday. That's your last opportunity to join. And then you cannot join for a whole other year. So you do you. If you're a self-starter and you think following my books and watching my videos on YouTube or on Instagram and you can piece it together, you do that, okay? Or trying to get into my fertility hot seat. You're only allowed in once. So well, that's also what's different with the weekly Q&A. You can just be there every week and ask me questions. But you do you. I support you. I'm cheering for you regardless of the decisions you make. But I did create this course so that, yeah, you can get there faster because you deserve that. So I'm going to go. And I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. There will be another, I can't even remember my schedule right now for this week, but I know on Thursday I'm going live again and I think it's going to be another version of this, but my team can chime in and say, no, Aimee, you're covering this on Thursday. I don't really remember what I'm covering, but I know I have another hot seat tomorrow and another story of hope. And then on Thursday, I have a hot seat and I have 2 stories of hope. And then I do have also my Instagram live that I always do on Thursdays. And so there's going to be more opportunity to ask questions. I'll put up another question box in the stories on Instagram so you can continue asking questions if you're hemming and hawing about the e-course. But really sit and think about it over the next day because the cart is going to close on Thursday. And if this feels like a calling to you, I want you to honor that, okay? And go back and watch the stories of hope. Like, you know, these girls come live with me and share their story to the whole world for a reason. Because, you know, it was game changing for them. Yeah, the weekly Q&A is every single week. Every single week. Like, literally, I probably miss 2 weeks a year. So we'll call it 50 weeks a year. But again, you never get kicked out. So every single week for as long as you're in the course. And that's up to you. I don't kick you out. So it's up to you. I only kick you out when you get pregnant and I make you go to the new mama group because I don't want to upset or ruffle the feathers of my girls that are in the e-course group who are not yet pregnant. And I'm very protective of my girls in the e-course group who are not yet pregnant. So the second we find out about a positive, typically what happens is you email and you're like, holy shit, I got a positive. Oh my God, when are office hours in the new mama group? And I'm like, okay, they're happening on Thursday, da-da-da-da-da. I put you in touch with my team. They get you right into the new mama group. You get access to the new mama guide, and you start asking your questions there. And then the girls in my new mama group are amazing because they've all graduated from the e-course. They're all the mamas, or they're currently pregnant, and they come in and they're, it's like a hen party. Everybody's so excited. Yeah, we have a good system. So the weekly Q&As happen every single week, and they never go away. They go away when you stop coming. I'm always there. I'm there every Thursday at 11 o'clock. That's exactly where I'm at. Every single Thursday. So will I see you on Thursday this week? Because I'm going to be there in my Q&A. If you want access to that, join the e-course like tonight. Or maybe I'll see you. Maybe you won't join the e-course until Thursday. And maybe I'll see you on Thursday, whatever, next week. I think that's October 6th or something like that. So, okay, good night. I love you guys. Thank you so much. This was fun. And like I said, we'll post more in the stories. And if you have more questions, ask them. You can DM us on on Instagram here and ask questions as well. Okay. Ciao.